I want to get Matilda out of the way at the moment, because I know there's a lot of important plays that you've done, and maybe you get asked about Matilda a lot. And considering that obviously you won the Tony Award for it, so first of all, how did you get involved with Matilda? Who asked you? What was the initial response to approaching you?
Yeah, it was just the RSC, really. The RSC asked me. It was Jeannie O'Hare and Michael Boyd was the artistic director, but it was really Jeannie O'Hare that, who was the dramaturg at the time, and they knew my work. They just knew I was around, you know. They knew my work, and I think they thought of me because my first play, Debris, was kind of like a strange sort of weird magical realist type play, and I think they thought that would work. I know Jeannie had talked a lot about, she had said a lot that what happens with books of musicals is they tend to go to the composer first, and then what happens is that you get songs. I mean, I don't really know much about musicals, so this I'm going on what she told me, but they tend to go to get the composer, the music first and the songs, and you know, the book can often be an afterthought. And I know that they felt, the RSC felt that was a mistake, and that best musicals had good stories to them. So they wanted to talk to a playwright first before talking to a director or a composer or anyone else. So they came to me. I think there was one other playwright they were talking to. They came to me and said, would I be interested? And I said, I would. I said, I mean, I didn't know the book. I didn't know Matilda, but I mean, when I started out, like that first play, Debris, I remember at that time, I've said this before, so if people have heard this, you know, forgive me for being boring, but we all are really. But when I'd written that play, at that time, the sort of received wisdom in theatre was find your voice. People would say, find your voice. That's what you do. You find your voice. And I really fucking hated that. I wasn't interested in that at all. I found that was a real kind of anti-human way to look at things. And I was inspired by Carol Churchill, who I felt most of all, who I felt like reinvented herself every time she came to write, you know. And I sort of, so when I wrote that first play, I looked at my work and thought, is that how I write? And then I thought, no, I fucking write any way I want to write. So my next play was very different. My next play after that was different. It wasn't really until about 3 or 4 plays in that I actually wrote what you might call a sort of a traditional play, you know, a traditional traditional sort of 3 or 4 act play. And I also started extending this in other directions as well. I thought I was interested in, you know, when a TV comedy came along with a friend of mine, and I you know, we were writing about, you know, that it sort of just came along, and I thought, fuck it, I want to do it. I really want to do it. A part of me was thinking, should I do this? Should, you know, do serious playwrights do comedies about 3 women who get fucking drunk a lot, you know? But actually, it was the story of mine and my co-writer's 20s. We were very good friends, and that was what we did in the 20s. We got drunk and fucking acted like idiots. And so I thought, I want to do it, and I did it. And then when the musical came along, I thought, you know, I want to do that. I want to give that a go. I've never done this before, so I'll give that a crack. It's a very long-winded answer.
Yeah.
I could have just said Jeannie O'Hare approached me.
So, did you work closely with Tim Minchin then on how to construct the story as well, and how to merge? No, so it was just literally.
No, I'd already written the adaptation. I mean, I worked with Matthew and Tim. We all worked together on. Once that script was written, there was a very big process of rewriting and workshops and stuff like that, where we all kind of looked at it and sort of would go, maybe this scene works better here, maybe that scene works better there. But that wasn't sort of like, it wasn't like we co-wrote this. I mean, I wrote the if you look at those those early scripts, they're messy as fuck. That early draft is messy as fuck, but it's by and large what you have today. You would recognize, you know, Matilda tells some stories. She goes through these events in the same sort of order. It ends up with a big scene with the Trunchbull doing, you know, and Tim did the music and lyrics, but we were very involved. He's very involved in, like, it was all quite, all very collaborative. You know, it wasn't like you just do that and I'll stick with this. But we also knew our boundaries. So he did music and lyrics. I didn't write his lyrics. You know what I mean? I might sort of have ideas about where a song should go, but he was the one that sort of said, no, I think a song needs to be here and it needs to be about this. And I was the one that really structured the story of the thing, you know. But we both have opinions on how it would work. But it wasn't a case of co-writing stuff.
Yeah.
He wrote music and lyrics. I wrote the book.